Okay, we are trying to set something for, we can't find a whole lot of good bills, but trying to set something so you won't be a waste of time. Everybody can put an E up on the board Friday. First thing we're going to do is on your desk you have an amendment to 201, and all this amendment does, Mr. Coomer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a sunset provision on Senate Bill 201. It will allow the General Assembly to gather data over the next 2 years to determine whether or not the policy set forth in 201 is good policy that we want to keep in place going forward.
Anybody got any questions about that?
Mr. Chairman, I think they're playing your song.
Mr. Benton. We ain't got time. I know that song.
I have to wait till they play the Air Force song.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. We've got Mr. Mullis who has a tape recorder and plays his own music. I got the United States Marine Corps playing for me. What? Everybody from Ringo's a Marine. That's all right. You're going to have to shut it and leave it shut. All those in favor? All right, we have a motion and a second to do the amendment. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's on. Oh, somebody said no way. Tommy, did I even let you speak? You want to? Rescind. Do it again. We have a question. Tommy, you go. Put him on. Okay, now try it. Up. In the middle.
I got it.
Now try it, Tom. Mr. Benton.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that brain sucker, and it's going to get full and drop off. I was wondering. I noticed that the sponsor of the bill had signed this, but I was wondering why we were choosing to sunset. The General Assembly's never had any problem with if legislation's not good, coming along later and taking it back. Just wonder why now.
Mr. Coomer, do you want to do that, or?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had heard concern from some members of our body that they believe that this may be a policy that created some unintended consequences, and in deference to their concerns, I'm asking the members to adopt the amendment so that we can have an opportunity at a specific time to come back and review the policy and determine whether or not it has had the positive effects that we expect, or if it has had negative effects, and we can address it again at that time with actual data.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hughley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Coomer, wouldn't it be better if, well, let me just say, I believe it would be better if that time frame were a little bit longer so that you would actually have appropriate data to review. I think 3 years would probably be better than the 2-year mark, because you're going to have some time for rules and regulations to go in place, and then you have to have time to, a window of time for you to actually have data to look at and come back. I think 3 years would be more practical for us, and if we want to make sure that we come back and see where we are.
I'm comfortable with the time frame that is in my amendment, and I would ask everyone to support it. but I'm open to a suggestion for changing that to 2020. And I will not oppose, Mr. Chairman, with the chairman's permission, striking 2019 and changing that to 2020 if that's appropriate.
We're gonna call that a Scribner's era.
That's what I intended, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a Scribner's era that I'll need a motion on, Mr. Coomer. Now move and second. Everybody all right with 2020? Anybody opposed to 2020 besides Mr. Coomer? Okay.
I have no objection.
All right, so we have fixed the Scribner's error. Now I will go ahead and ask for a motion on the amendment.
Move.
Anybody opposed to that amendment? It's on. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We're going to set some kind of a calendar. This is the calendar for Friday. Modified open, HR 462. Any opposed? It's on. Modified open, SB 8. Anybody opposed? It's on. Modified open, SB 117. Anybody opposed? It's on. Modified open, SR 229. Any opposed? It's on. Under modified structure, SB 153, that real good bill. Any opposed? Yeah. There will be an amendment on the floor for that bill. It's got a. It's well. We can amend it in here. Have you got it? We can't. We'll have to. Mr. Willard. Optometrist bill. Using needles to go under that first layer of cellophane, that no shots in the eye. That being modified structure, it can be amended in here. I don't think we have to have under modified structure. Is there a time limit? Yeah, we're going to put it on. There is a, we'll get to that in a minute too. Under modified structure, SB 219. Any opposed? It's on. That's the calendar for Friday. Listen up. We're meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We're done. Whoa! I don't care if y'all all shut the door. Shut the door. We're back in. We forgot one. I overlooked Mr. Golick. Wait a sec. Now try it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that Senate Bill 125 be recommitted back to Judiciary Non-Civil for additional work.
You heard the motion. All those who disagree signify by aye. It's back to committee. Now we're done.